Hi everybody, happy Sunday. So I'm working on a picture and I'm going to show you kind of how I get my color themes together and how I use Prismacolor pencils to do kind of a Gothic blood red hair, and on and on. I'm just going to make this short. I'm just going to show you some little bits of what I'm doing. So this is a brand new picture I just downloaded. It's from Deborah Muller's new book, Gothic Charm School. It just got released yesterday. I bought it on Etsy, downloaded it, printed 4 images, and this is the very first one. It's such a cute little book. I think you'll really love it. It's one of those books where I love all of her images instead of just like I love some of them. I love them all. I think there's 20, maybe, I don't know, 25 images or something like that. So anyway, hopefully my headphones are not getting in the way. So, and I did, the skin tone looks a little blotchy and muddy. I just started that with Copic markers, but I always go back over with the colored pencil to smooth things out, and I have not done that. I do that last, so this is just an under layer, so that's why it looks kind of half done and kind of splotchy. So this is kind of the theme I'm going for since it is a Gothic book. I knew I wanted to do like a blood red and black, but then I'm like, well, what? So, I didn't know what other colors to kind of put in there. And so one thing I often do, just go to Google and put in best colors with black and red, for example, and then go to Google Images and you'll get tons of images with color palettes, or you can put in black, red, color theme or color palette. And you'll see color palettes like these or pictures of stuff with those colors. So I'm just kind of looking for, like, it didn't occur to me, oh, I can use dark gray, light gray, kind of a rose color. And certainly there's more. I mean, if you look at this chart here, the darkest, right, we have black, dark gray, medium gray, light gray, light gray, light gray, all the way up to white, or dark red like a wine red, a medium red, all the way to a lipstick red, a coral red, all the way down to like this kind of reddish rose. So it starts from dark to lightest. So you can really use any colors in your color theme, but different shades. So I hadn't really thought of using grays, and I hadn't thought of using whites. And so, and then you kind of see some other stuff that has these colors in it with the blackish, dark gray, light gray, and the red and the white sugar. And you kind of can see how they kind of complement things. And so I just kind of printed this out to remind myself of what colors I'm going for here. And originally I was going to do her hair black, but I wanted maybe a black background. And obviously you're not going to see black hair on a black background. So I had to choose. So since it's kind of a goth book and her books are kind of alternative, I wanted to do the blood red hair with the black roots, which is what I'm doing. And I'll show you the colors I'm using, which I also used the similar colors in my Arteza markers for her clothes and her lipstick. Have not decided yet what color to do the bonnet, where I want to put the gray in. So I'm either going to do multi-tones of gray background, dark, medium, and light, with black and red hearts, and then the bonnet I'll do, since the background will be gray, I'll do a black and red, or I'll do gray, different grays in the bonnet. Or I might do gray lapels here on her dress and still do the black background. I'm not sure. I wanted to get the hair done first and finish the lapel here on her dress and then decide about the rest, where I'm going to put my grays and what I'm going to leave white. I might leave white in the bow. Just go over this with a white pencil so it's not, looks completely stark white. To overlay the gray, or I might leave these two white and put in some white Posca pen here. So for the markers, my large Arteza set, I did do a review of those markers. I'm using, for the darkest, which is wine red A415, I have a black, of course. I have a rose red A410. And I have a ruby red A411. And what I did on these, I started, the black obviously I just did on the black stripes. But for the reds, I did 3 tones of red in the dress. So I started with the red, the darkest, kind of at the bottom. And then I went to, I believe, the ruby red and kind of blended in halfway up from there. And when it was still wet, I started blending in the lightest red for the top part. So you see we've got the darkest, kind of a medium, and then the light, and then you take the light and you go all the way back over all of it and kind of blend it in. So you have kind of some different like shadow shadings on her dress. Same with her lips. I do need to get a white pencil and go in over the lips. But for the hair, I'm doing Prismacolor pencils. And I have 5 colors. So we're going to use the black, of course, in this order. Starting, and what I did here is I did the black roots and started to work my way down. And I'm going to do a strand here and show you. Then I went to the black raspberry, PC 1095. Then I went to the sienna brown, which is PC 945. Then I went to the crimson lake, PC 925. And I went to the Scarlet Lake PC 923, and that's what I did here. You can also, once you're done with your Prismas, you can take a red marker and really brighten that up and go over the whole strand. Now it's a real, Prismacolors are waxy, so it's smooth and slippery. So, but it is kind of, you can see it's brightening up this piece, and you can go even over the black with the red. Now don't touch it because it'll smear, because it's a wax layer with the Prismas. To go back over Prismas with marker, most people do marker and Prisma over it. Sometimes I do it in reverse. You don't have to do that, but it did give it a little bit more of a pop, and you can do that with any red you want. It just hides some of the plume from the pencil or whatever. But you don't have to do that, but you can. So I'm going to do a strand and show you how I did the hair. So we're going to start with the black because, like most people, we have darker hair at the top and we go lighter and lighter as we go down, because we get our roots grow out at the top. So I'm going to do, let's go over here, and I'm going to do one section at a time. I'm just going to do one. Well, you can do one or two. I think I'm going to do 2 sections, just so you know you have one section here and one section here. So we're just going to start at the root with our black pencil. Now I printed mine on, gosh, I can't remember the paper I'm using. It's not really a colored pencil paper, so it's pretty smooth paper. So it doesn't have a ton of tooth. So it does make the pencils kind of roll on, just kind of go on a little slippery. I don't know how else to describe it. A little slippery. I'm just putting on some light layers here. This is going to go all the way down to here, so I think we can go about to here with the black. Just under 1/4 of the way. We do have 5 colors. So then let's get here our black raspberry, and we're going to go over this from where the black is at the top. Blend over the black. Unlike alcohol markers, you have to work quick because it dries. You don't have that issue with colored pencils, so you don't feel like you're in as much of a rush to do your blending, which is one thing about markers that bugs me when you blend, is you got to work super quick or you get streaks. So it's definitely going to be darker up here because it's black underneath, right? And then we're just going to bring this down a little lower than where the black ended now, and some light strokes. And I'm probably going on a little heavier than I normally would because I don't want this video to take forever for you guys. I'm just trying to give you the gist. All right, let's go into the sienna brown. And I'm not going to go all the way up. We're only going to go where we left off and just up a little bit to overlap that last color. Okay, so we're going to go over it just a little bit until you don't see any more white through the paper and it's starting to develop like a nice rich color. And we're going to bring this down lower than where we left off the last color. just kind of try to remove some of the white up there. And keep it lighter toward the end of where you're going to end the color. Light but even, so you can bring in those reds. Now let's move on to the Crimson Lake. We're going to start where we the brown got lighter. And we're going to bring this in over the brown and a little bit above it where the brown overlapped with that previous color. The thing is, I don't like to do all my work in colored pencil because like my hand hurts already, you guys. Like I hate the hand cramping, and I have to remind myself, hold it light, hold it loosely. Like you have to remember to not clamp your hand on your pencil and just relax your hand. And it's like instinctively my hand does the opposite, so I'm always having to tell myself that. So you see, I'm just kind of going back up over those browns, bringing in that red. And we only have one color left, so we can bring this down, but lighter at the ends, so we can overlap it with our final red. Just make sure it's kind of even. It's okay, there's a little white streaks because we're going to go back over that with our final red. We're going to go down to where it ends. I'm going to work my way back upward over the previous red. This is a nice color blend, and we're going to bring it up, up, up as our final kind of layer over everything. So we're going to go over this. I really like this color combination because I think it's natural at the roots. Kind of between the black and the black raspberry, and it leads nicely into the reds, this red color combination. So we're going back over all of it except for the blackish part, just where you see any of the brown. We're going back over it with this brightest red, and I have to get this little spot here. My hand's cramping. I have several brand new sets of pencils on the way. Again, I think I told you guys I spent about $1,200 on art supplies. My own money, by the way, on an Amazon card. And I got my Derwent Light Fast. I bought my Caran d'Arche Luminance Black Widow pencils. They should all arrive, some today and some tomorrow. I'm super excited. And I'm going to get in and show them all to you and start using them, and you shall see what they do. Now, again, this isn't the greatest colored pencil paper, but it's real waxy and shiny. I'm just going back over it. And there, so we have it done. We can get our black. Go back up here, fill in a little more black. If you see any white splotches or anything that was missing, go back over the black part again. And lighten your pressure as you go into where we started the black raspberry. Just lighten it a little because you want it pretty black where it starts, because her roots like go halfway down. And then I see a little red there, so I'm going to take my rose red marker from my Arteza, and I'm just going to go over the last bit I did. The reason I didn't do the marker first is because, you know, I mean, I could have laid down a whole red thing of markers and gone over with Prismas, but it just, the color blend wouldn't look the same. Now see how you can use your finger and smear it in because it's waxy layer on top because we used a pencil. So I generally don't like to do this method unless it's only in skinny areas because you could see some smearing. I just put in a few touches of red where I wanted it a little bolder, and it's going to be wet. Run your finger on it. You might want to use a cotton swab, not your finger. Just a touch. It's got to dry there. It's red. So that's how I'm doing her entire hair. I generally only like to go over the skinny parts, like I said, with the marker. or at the very end part if you need to deepen the final red. I got a little on her face, so I'm going to have to fix that. So I'm just going over this part. And I'm not going to blend this, I'm just going to leave it. It'll dry. I mean, I'm not going to smear it like I did the other parts. So what do you guys think about black background, multiple gray backgrounds, leave the background white? I know her labels are going to be gray. I'm going to leave white in her bow. I haven't decided about the bonnet or the background, but I want to make sure I bring in all the colors from my chosen color palette. And then, of course, I have to go back over her skin with skin tones and white pencils and fix all that. What happened here with all of this blotchiness is I started out, the colors I chose of my Copic skin tones, once by the time I started, they ran, like 2 of them ran out of ink right after I started. And all I had to go back and kind of try to continue the job that were similar in color was not the right color, so it left it looking a little muddy or splotchy there. That's kind of what happened there. That's a risk because Copics do run out of color pretty quickly. We're just going to let that dry. You can go up here if you see any black stuff, or go back over. You can also go back over this with your black pencil. I like to put the red back over the black for more of that oxblood look. Again, that's a little wet. It has to dry. It'll look a little smeared until it's dried. So I started this about midnight last night. So I was a little out of it. But I think it's going to look great when it's done. You will see the completed picture of this done when I show you the first few days of September, what I colored for August 2022. And now, again, these were done, the black stripes, in the black Arteza marker. You can take the black pencil and go back over it if you want it a richer black. I mean, you don't need to. That Arteza black marker is pretty solid. I don't know if you're seeing a lot of difference me going over this with a pencil. That's why sometimes I like to go back over the pencils with the marker. You just have to know what you're doing, or it will leave kind of that wet streaks on it. See, that didn't do a lot of difference. You really would be better off going back over it for a second layer of black if you want a little richer black. This is only all just one layer, what you see on here now. And I did see a few white spots. So anyway, that's kind of my color combo for the Gothic hair. This has to dry. This is how I kind of use mixed medias. And I love this book, by the way, you guys. It's so cute. So cute. Actually, if you want, I have another, hold on a second. I can show you the other images I printed from this book. Okay, I had to come over here and grab it. Get off my headphones. So here are a couple other of those images I just printed from this Gothic Charm School. Cannot wait to do these. So cute. And I love how she's putting stuff in the background so you don't have to really make your own background. There's this one. There's a lot of other ones. Some looked a little more goth steampunk. There were some that had like little posters like rules for charm school. Do this, don't do this, you know. These cute. I don't know if I'm going to do all these for August because I already have my August pile done, but I might. This one would be great with a black night sky. Like she's outdoors. Some smoky gray clouds. Maybe some really good emerald green and dark purple shades in her dress. Maybe you could do some red hair because if you have a black background, you want the hair and things to pop. So these are the 3 I printed from Gothic Charm School, and I think it's super cute, and I love, love, love this book and all her stuff. Thank you so much, Deborah Muller. All right, everybody, see you in the next video, and I'll keep working on this picture.